Reaction on the death Tuesday of NFL player turned broadcaster Pat Summerall. Pat was my broadcasting partner for a long time, but more than that, he was my friend for all of these years. We never had one argument, and that was because of Pat. He was a great broadcaster and a great man. He always had a joke. Pat never complained, and we never had an unhappy moment. He was something very special. Pat Summerall is the voice of football, and always will be. John Madden. Pat Summerall was one of the best friends and greatest contributors that the NFL has known. He spent 50 years as part of our league, first as a player on the legendary New York Giants teams of the late 50s and early 60s, and then as a Hall of Fame broadcaster for CBS and Fox. His majestic voice was treasured by millions of NFL fans for more than 4 decades. Pat always represented the essence of class and friendship. It is a sad day in the NFL. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, as the anchor of CBS golf telecast for more than 20 years, he provided our fans with a comfortable balance between eloquent insight and letting the competition speak for itself. He was a true legend and will be greatly missed by all his friends at the PGA Tour. PGA Tour Commissioner Tim Finchem. He was an extraordinary man and a wonderful father. I know he will be greatly missed. Susie Wiles, Summerall's daughter. Pat will always be a great Giant. He was one of my father's favorites, and his game-winning kick in the snow against the Browns in 1958 is one of the most memorable plays in our franchise's history. And Pat was a true gentleman and the voice of the NFL for generations of fans. Giants president and CEO John Murray. Pat Summerall was a hero to me. I treasure the gift of friendship that I had with him. I was his understudy for 10 years. He could not have been more generous or kind to a young broadcaster. He was a giant and one of the iconic figures in the history of the CBS television network. CBS Sports Jim Nantz. Pat was the NFL's narrator for generations, with a voice that was powerful, eloquent, and distinctive. His presence at an NFL game elevated that event to a higher level. He was royalty in the broadcast booth. Humility and kindness were his closest companions. He was a trusted friend and confidant, and for all of his immense talents as a professional, he was an even better person. There is no question that Pat broadcasts more Dallas games on CBS and Fox than any other man, and this is a great loss for thousands of Cowboys fans who spent their Sunday afternoons in the living room with Pat. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Pat was an icon in his profession and was the voice that defined the NFL on television for generations of fans. He and John Madden helped give Fox Sports and the NFL on Fox credibility when it launched almost 20 years ago, and for that we'll be forever grateful. Pat's 50-year record as an NFL player and broadcaster is truly unique, and it will be very difficult for anyone to ever walk in his footsteps. Fox Sports. There is no one more closely associated with the great legacy and tradition of CBS Sports than Pat Summerall. His voice was synonymous with big events, whether it was NFL football and the Super Bowl, the Masters, or United States Open tennis. Sean McManus, CBS Sports chairman. Pat was a friend of nearly 40 years. He was a master of restraint in his commentary, an example for all of us. He was also one of the great storytellers who ever spoke into a microphone. CBS Sports Vern Lundquist. Pat was a great friend of the 8th Cotton Bowl Classic. One of Pat's last assignments on Fox was as a special contributor for the 2011 8th Cotton Bowl during our 75th anniversary celebration. His stature raised the profile of our game. Rick Baker, Cotton Bowl president. Pat was a wonderful ambassador not only for the NFL, but for sports in general. He was a fixture in our living rooms. We were fortunate to have him as a player and also as the voice for some of our most memorable games. Even more importantly, he was a warm, gentle man. Steve Tisch, Giants chairman. Pat Summerall was a great Floridian and friend. His daughter, Susie Wiles, was my campaign manager, and she brought the same tenacity to the campaign that Pat brought to football and televised sports. Florida golf. Rick Scott,